Today you guys are going to do the second section of Chapter 14, Graphs of Trig Functions, but we'll be changing the horizontal and vertical values, so the graphs will be shifted horizontally and vertically. Your new equation compared to the first section is not only going to have an A value, possibly, and a B value, but there might be an H value and a K value. The H value will be the horizontal shift, but since there is a minus in the equation, we will have to do opposite of what is after X. K will be the vertical shift of your graph, and since it is a positive in the formula, you will use the actual value. Please remember that A will be changing the amplitude of your graph, and B will be changing the period of your graph using the formula from section 14.1. So in order to graph this trig function, you want to realize that we have four things that we are maybe going to alter or deal with. So we list them out. Amplitude and period are reviews from yesterday. The horizontal shift and the vertical shift are the new concepts. I first look for the A value, or the number multiplied in front of the trig function, which is 1, so my amplitude is 1. The period, I try to find a B value, and I would take the original period, 2 pi divided by my B. Since I do not have a B value, it is 1. 2 pi divided by 1 is 2 pi. The horizontal shift is opposite of what comes after X. So instead of adding 2 pi over 5 as my horizontal shift, I will subtract 2 pi over 5. The vertical shift is the K value, which is positive 2, so I have a positive 2 vertical shift. Now we have to make sure we are using these numbers appropriately in our 5-point method graph. The vertical shift will be the first number you use, followed by the amplitude. So your vertical shift will be the middle height value, and when you use the amplitude, that is the distance, you will go up and down. So 2 in the middle goes up 1 space to 3, down 1 space to 1. The horizontal values will come from the period and the horizontal shift. We start with the period. When there is a horizontal shift, I recommend writing a period of 2 pi below the graph. It is not actually a part of the graph. So I pretend that I would normally start at 0, go all the way to 2 pi, and find my other values like we did in 14.1. But every single one of these values is shifted 2 pi over 5 to the left, or minus 2 pi over 5. So I would do 0 take away 2 pi over 5 is negative 2 pi over 5. Then I would do the 1/2 pi minus 2 pi over 5 is 1/10 pi. I would do the 1 pi minus 2 pi over 5 is 3 pi over 5. I would do the 3 pi halves minus 2 pi over 5 is 11 pi tenths. And I would finally take the 2 pi minus 2 pi over 5 is 8 pi over 5. These horizontal values represent a total horizontal length of 2 pi, which is your period, but every number was shifted horizontally by negative 2 pi over 5. Once you have all of your pieces labeled, you will draw what a sine curve normally looks like. Sine starts in the middle, goes up, goes middle, goes down, goes middle, and we connect them with a nice smooth curve. After we have our graph, hopefully we can do our domain and range decently easy. The domain is all the way left to all the way right, so negative infinity not included to positive infinity not included. The range is 1 included all the way to a height value of 3 included.